I need to renew my passport, actually.
I hate, like, the thing with passports, like, where it has to be valid for 6 months after you come back. I'm like, then why doesn't it just expire 6 months earlier?
Yeah, like
what is that?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
I mean, I kind of get it because, like, I don't know, like, I think travel visas, like, it's, like, 6 months is the max before you have to, like, leave and, like, come back. So I think, like, that's part of it, is that, like, then you're still accounted for with a legal passport. You're not just, like, in another country
Maybe.
with an expired passport because it expired while you were there.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
That's my thought process behind it. Because I've definitely, like, with work and stuff, like, gone
and had to leave.
And I haven't had, I think I traveled enough, like, when I went after college. But it did get really close. And when I was going back into, I kind of forgot about this. Back after I graduated college, I backpacked through Europe, like hostels and the whole thing, which was really fun. And I was coming, I had friends, I was staying out there for like the whole summer, and so I had friends like come and visit me basically out there for like a week or two at a time. And so then I would like go and travel with them. And I was coming back to the UK, which was kind of like acting as my home base. And they were like looking at all my travel and like looking at how long I had been gone. And I think at that point, like 3 months. And I was coming really close to the like end of the 3 months. But I never had booked a flight home because I didn't know how long I was going to be there. It was like traveling and, you know, however many years ago it wasn't as... It was affordable back then, like, to, like, you could stay in a hostel for, like, €10 a night or something crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it was a different time. So I didn't have a flight booked home because I was like...
Whatever.
Like, I just graduated college. I didn't have, like...
Responsibilities.
Like, I was like, I'm just gonna do this. And I have plenty of friends who, like, want to come out, and, like, I had, like, friends who I could stay with and all of that, and family, and... so it also made it easier and more affordable. But yeah, totally got, like, where's your flight home? Like, what do you have? And I had to be like, I don't have a flight booked. And they're like, well, you're coming up on, like, the end of, like, your travel time and da-da-da. And I was like, no, like, and they're like, well, where are you staying? And I was just like, with friends. And they're like, so it all sounded like it wasn't
very
like
sketchy.
The best. Like, I didn't have anything concrete.
Yeah.
Or like a physical address, or like, it was very like, you know, I was just kind of, you know, a lot of times playing it by ear, like each night. So that was the only time. And then they let me through and it was fine.
Yeah.
I eventually went back to the States. And
well, you're here, not in some jail in
Europe.
So you made it.
Yeah.
You survived.
It was fine.
Oh, God. I think of, like, some of the, like, travel horror stories, like, that happened when I was in college and, like, dumb and traveling through Europe, and I was like, well, I made it at least. But there was one time, ran out of money, ran out of, like, your phone, like, everything was gone. And we had to hop the turnstile to get on the tram to the airport. Yeah. And I was like, well, I hope this works, because I literally don't have the money to get to the airport, and I don't have any way of fixing that.
Yeah, like contacting anyone.
And I was just like, oops.
Yeah.
Because you're just, I was studying abroad, so I was like 19 and stupid. Like,
Yeah, I was a little bit older, so I didn't luckily make any of the problems we ran into were kind of no fault of our own. Like, we missed, actually, when I got held up at customs, we missed the last train at the station that was like, because I can't remember where we flew into, but it wasn't Heathrow. It was like some other small airport that
Yeah,
like
'cause you're,
required
like Ryanair or
exactly,
something.
yeah. And so it required like a train and a bus and like a ferry,
Yeah.
and it was like 1 in the morning or midnight, and we had just missed the last train, and so then we were like, okay, well, when's the next bus? And it was at like 3 a.m.
Like, great.
And then they're like, or you could take this one at 1 a.m., but then you'd have to transfer, but we're kind of like, fuck it, like, we'll just do it anyway. We literally walked into the apartment we were staying, like, the sun was coming up.
Oh my god, that's so annoying.
It was the most, I mean, it makes for, like, a good story now.
Now, yeah.
And, you know, and at the time, I was, like, what, like, freshly graduated, so, like, what, 21, 22?
Yeah, so you don't really care.
No. Yeah, I was sleeping in 10-euro hostels. It definitely wasn't,
You
like,
weren't, like, living the dream.
no. Although, some of the places...
Some of them were nice.
Really not, like, I actually... The majority of them were fine. Some of them were like communal rooms, and that like
That's weird.
I'm glad I did it at that age because I'm
No,
not
I
doing
did
that
not
now. But met some really cool people that way. Super weird waking up and rolling over and there's a stranger in a bed like 3 feet away from you, like
or on a bunk bed.
You're like,
okay,
hello. Most of the time, I was traveling like with someone though.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, the majority of the time. But we also stayed, like, one place we got to, and it was, like, it was before Airbnb, but it was basically, like, the equivalent of Airbnb, whatever the, like, computer, like, website we used, because there wasn't even apps back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you were reading, oh, God, what were those, like, the traveler's books that everybody,
Lonely Planet. Lonely Planet.
That was like
books.
where you got your information from. And yeah, I didn't have a smartphone.
No.
I didn't even like.
I had a little brick that was like this big.
I don't even
and it was
think
like pay as you go.
I think I just used. I don't even think I used my cell phone. I don't remember.
Like calling cards.
I think it was just calling cards and payphones and stuff. And
well, because you're a little bit older than I am, so I don't know. Maybe I mean, I had
a cell phone.
Yeah, but like.
But I don't think I
feel like
because of like roaming charges and shit. I don't think that I wasn't like you lived there.
I was living there, so yeah, that was why. So mine was like a Spanish phone.
Yeah,
I was living in Spain.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because how many months were you there?
13.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I was living there for like 3.
Yeah. No, I had a student visa, so I was there for. I also stayed like till the bitter. I mean, I had my flight booked, but like I stayed.
As long as you have a flight booked, they don't care.
Also,
it was a lack of flight that really like they
sealed
put me
your
through
fate
the ringer there.
Yeah, I was also I had family there, so like if I had to just be like I did have a permit if I needed one. I also had an apartment, so like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wasn't on the lease or whatever, but I feel like I had a place that I lived.
Yeah.
I was there for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like that's also really common in big cities to not be on a lease, like.
Yeah, like.
Especially back then, like I feel like Craigslist was a much more acceptable way to like.
Yeah.
Or like the equivalent of
whatever it was. Yeah. Especially like because I was traveling too with my like student visa. So like like for when you're there that long, like your student visa expires after like 4 or 5 months, and so you have to get like a card. Like like a green card, student card or something.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Spanish
that then
equivalent.
That then is your like ID.
Yeah.
Which that's like so stressful because like they don't want you to go get it too soon, but
right.
like you can't get it. But then it's like you literally have to get there at like 4 o'clock in the morning because they only see a certain number of people a day.
They like have to,
And like it can take this. It's like I'm like, why is this so hard? Like why couldn't I go right when I got there to do this?
Yeah,
for some reason you couldn't. No. Oh my god, everything is. Like, someone else getting married is, like, the most expensive thing that can happen to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that and then, like, a medical emergency or a new car. Like, Those
Yeah.
are the 3 most expensive things, or moving in New York, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Weddings might be more, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, if you throw in that you're in the wedding, then it's probably more.
I just, like, luckily, like, I haven't been in that many weddings. I am in one coming up. And, like, it is a destination wedding, so that is, like, upping the cost of things.
Yeah.
But, like, in general, she hasn't really, like, gone, like, too crazy or bridezilla or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
she's, like, it's been all, like, reasonable, right? And,
Yeah.
like, she's been trying to take that into consideration. So I'm not, like, bitching about her. I'm bitching about the entire, like, bridal industrial complex.
Yeah.
Where it's just, like, everything, like, if it is a bridesmaid's dress, you could get the same fucking dress for, like, half the price.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too, is, like, I've been lucky, like, that I've been in weddings where the bride, like, recognized that and was like, here's the color palette I'm going for. Anything formal will do. And
That's
so then it's, like, you're not shocked. Because, yeah, they have these, like, bridesmaids dress lines that are just, like, bridesmaids dresses.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're bridesmaids because it's, like, all made of the exact same, like, color palette and material and fabric and blah, blah, blah. So, and that's where those get really expensive.
Yeah.
It's, like, just, like baseline ones are, like, a couple $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like, the quality is just not always there.
Yeah. I mean,
For the price point.
right. That's, like, and it's so funny because it just reminds me of, like, when I was growing up and, like, horseback riding. It was, like, you want a leather belt for your, like, riding outfit. If you get it at the equestrian store, it's, like, add a 0 to the end. You can get the exact same fucking thing at, like, any other store, like a little leather belt.
Yeah.
And it's, like, way cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, the markup because it's, like, equestrian.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, like, and I would imagine, like, with anything, like, that, you know, as a bride you have to buy is, like, probably even 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah, like, look, like, I know for a fact, like, when you're looking at venues, if you say the word bride or bridal or something that, like, even if it's bridesmaids throwing the party or, like, anything that it becomes, like, a bridal event, like, the rate just skyrockets. Yeah.
Because, like, what are you going to do? Say no.
Yeah. And you can't lie about it because, like, it's very
obvious.
obvious.
It's obvious that that's the party.
Yeah.
Like.
So, and I understand, like, why that is would be a different event than just, like, a dinner party. Like, those are two very different events and require, like, different things. And also, if someone throws a dinner party and someone throws a wedding, like, their standards for the event are going to be vastly much different. Higher. So that also comes into play with, like, the cost of
staffing and everything too.
So I like get it to a point.
No, and I actually really like weddings. I like going to weddings.
Yeah.
I just, and I can't even imagine how stressful it is to, like, plan a wedding and do all of that. But I'm also just like, it's gonna cost me so much money to, like, celebrate your love. Like, make it nicer for me. And it's also just hard too because, like, okay, so, like, the one I'm in that's coming up is a destination wedding, so, like, that's fine, but at least, like, I get to go, like, to Mexico. That's pretty fucking cool. But, like,
honestly, I kind of prefer a destination wedding because I was like, what was the last wedding I went to? And then I was like, oh, we shot the last wedding, so that makes me automatically enjoy the wedding more because I like having a task.
Yeah.
Like, and I just, like, I'm doing what I love to do on top of it, and for someone that I love, so it's, like,
definitely.
double enjoyable. And it was a destination wedding, so I got to go somewhere, which is always my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually think I, in some ways, prefer a destination, because then it's like, I'm getting, like you said, I'm getting something out of this.
Yeah, I get, like, a tropical vacation.
Like, just for me personally, like, aside from the bride and groom and their celebration, like, I
Yeah.
get to have my own, like,
little mini
vacay.
But yeah, and because also what I was gonna say is that, like, because we moved to New York, so it's like every freaking wedding is a destination wedding. I don't want to go to freaking LA for your wedding.
Yeah.
I go there all the time.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, I will, but, like,
Yeah.
that's just... So everything is just, like... And then it's, like... Also, I think it's hard because I'm not, like... in case you can't tell, like, a dressed up kind of person. Also, something that I think is kind of new with, like, our generation and how we, like, do weddings, I think probably because we're getting married later, is, like, it's very rarely is it just, like, you get there the night before, maybe have dinner, wedding, and then leave the next day. A lot of times it's, like,
well, and even that, like, most of the time, like, which I feel like when I was involved in weddings, like in my early 20s, like, it was just, like, unless you were in the wedding, like, you just showed up the afternoon of.
Yeah, at the church or the beach or whatever. Yeah.
And then, like, spent a couple hours and then went home. It was, like, not a big deal. Like, there were no, like, crazy expenses. Like, I feel like it wasn't until, like, I don't know, I feel like our generation, like, got a little bit older, and then, like, the Pinterest board started, like, taking over.
The Pinterest board.
Which now I feel like is funny because I've definitely seen a lot of, like, millennials and elder millennials, like, make fun of their, like, Pinterest board weddings, or make fun of, like, that they were grateful that they never had their Pinterest board wedding, because, like, look at my Pinterest board from, like, 2008, and it's, like, turquoise and teal and pearls on the cake, and just, like,
you're like, what was I thinking?
What was this, like, Tiffany Dreambox wedding I'm planning?
Oh,
Which,
man.
you know, if that's your jam, then great, but, like,
yeah,
they were very, like, they weren't, like, that was the thing. It wasn't anybody's jam. They were just like, look at this thing that I've seen a million times that I've decided I like. There was, like, very lacking any sort of individuality.
The mason jar at a wedding. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Anything in a mason jar.
Yes. All the mason jars, all the, string lights.
Yeah, and but it's also, it's just, like, get, like, outfits for all these events.
Yeah.
I don't have clothes for that kind of
that's
shit.
What I mean. Now, like, what you were getting to is, like, there's, like, so many events now. I think that goes with, like, a destination wedding. But I've also been to, like, good destination weddings where, like, everything, like, they plan events and everything's included. So, like, your dinner, your breakfast, your, like, lunch the next day, your, like, those things. Right. So it's, like, you're almost, like, at a all-inclusive, like, vacation.
Like, where do I go now?
Yeah.
Where's are we partying on the Lido deck?
Yeah,
like, where's my cruise director?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, in that aspect,
it just entails a lot.
It's just so much.
It's so much, and, like...
Especially because, like, I feel like I saw the evolution of it. Like, I definitely went to weddings in my, like, very early 20s, because I grew up in Orange County, California.
Right.
And those were very much, like, you just, like, maybe had a shower that you went to.
Yeah.
Depending on how well you knew the bride. Like, usually those were even smaller events.
Right.
And then you had the wedding that you know, showed up and stayed for a couple hours and then went home.
Yeah, I feel like the first wedding I went to, like, as a grown up, I was, like, 22 or something. Yeah. And we, like, my boyfriend, was he in the wedding? I don't think he was in it. I think, like, but, like, we were really, really good friends with, like, we were, like, one tier down from the people that were in it.
Right.
So, like, we stayed that night. Like, we got there for the wedding and then, like, wanted to drink at the, like, reception and everything. And so we stayed and, like, went out to bars afterwards and whatever. So you're, like, 22, so you're, like, getting fucking wasted anyway. Yeah. Like, so we stayed one night. And, like, but that felt very much like a kind of wedding where you show up and then like
Yeah.
you know, if we just drank less, like we could have gone home. It wouldn't have been like
well, and also like that speaks to the era of there weren't Ubers. So
yeah, there weren't Ubers.
So it wasn't like that was more out of necessity. That was just saving you an Uber because
also they lived more like it would have been we wouldn't have Ubered. It was like Santa Barbara. They lived in Santa Barbara.
Oh, so
like,
that's kind of a destination wedding. Like if you have to drive over an hour, like
well, because Derek went to school in Santa Barbara, so like his
that's true.
Yeah, they'd stayed there after graduation.
Right, but like if nobody's living there, like you,
yeah, we weren't,
or the person is not living there, like that's a destination wedding for you. You can't like that's not a day trip.
I did a wedding where I went up and back.
I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's like on
it was not very fun though.
No, because like on a good day, that's like.
It's like 5 hours out in the car.
4.5. Yeah. I was gonna guess 4.5. So yeah, like
it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was extenuating circumstances though.
Yeah.
But I was gonna stay and then I was like, I can't. I gotta go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just become a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see these people who like. I don't know, maybe I'm just not friends with very many people who get married, but I see people who are like have like 4 or 5 weddings in a year, and I'm like, I can't fucking afford that.
Yeah.
I need another job, like
seriously.
just for my wedding budget. Like,
yeah.
I had told all my like really good like my core group of girlfriends from college, and like I was like, I can do 1 a year, guys. You gotta pay some out though, because like most of them still live in California.
Yeah.
So like I'm like I will come. I'll be there. I'll be in it if you want. I'll do the thing, but only if it's 1 a year.
Well, and that's the difference too with like the friends group that you know that you're gonna be in the wedding. Like, that's where the cost starts adding up because it's like hair and makeup the day of, like
well,
the dress.
Then you're adding on the bridal tax to everything because like if you're just buying like nice dresses for an evening out, they don't have to know.
Yeah, exactly.
But once you're in the wedding, everything is bridal. So but it's okay. I mean, I do like it. I just feel like the industry just has us in such a fucking chokehold. And I blame Pinterest too.
Oh yeah, 100%. There was like I don't know. There was like the rise in Pinterest. Like I feel like Pinterest doesn't have the same hold over people as they used to. It's still like a research tool, I'll say.
Yeah.
A place I'll like go and peruse if I'm like looking for inspo for something specific.
Yeah.
But I won't just go browse Pinterest like I used to.
Yeah, or like make my like boards for like my friends to like peruse. Or
yeah.
No,
like I'll still make like I have a board like I want to get my hair cut.
Yeah.
Like after the end of summer. So I'm like starting to like pin some things as like what do I actually want to do?
Yeah.
Like, and then I would then show my hairdresser.
Right, but like for something like very specific. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it doesn't have quite the grip that it used to. Also shoes for weddings.
So
you again have gotten lucky with this. I feel like you always get like comfy shoes or you're filming or
I know.
I've spent so much money on fucking shoes that like and again, I don't really wear shoes like that anymore.
I don't wear heels anymore. So I have definitely learned how to like hide my feet in a dress, like keep it like floor scraping so that I can wear flats.
Okay.
I also just like have cool friends who like all had plans to change into Chucks or something at some point.
Right.
So even if I like absolutely had to be in heels, I wasn't in them for very long.
Right.
Or I was working, so I just like kept on like some form of flats. This is what I love about Gen Z, and like, but I'm curious if this translates to their weddings because they're all wearing like athletic shoes with like cute dresses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like to the clubs and stuff, like where you would typically see a heel.
Right.
So, and I know that Gen Z wears a heel. It's not like you don't see like But I'm curious if, like, that is just a club look, or if, like, they're
Right.
wearing heels to weddings. Like,
I don't know.
also, is Gen Z getting married? Like,
You know, are we just going to be the generation that kind of didn't really do that?
yeah, so, like, the Gen Z and Gen Alpha are, like, gonna look up to us and be like, oh, we don't have to do that. Did we break that, like...
Yeah, or are they going to be like, oh yeah, those are the weirdos that never got married?
I think it's the former, just by... At least for the, like, more liberal-minded Gen Z. I'm lucky that I'm not exposed to, like, any, like, MAGA Gen Zers on my social media. I've kept my feed pretty clean. So I have, like, I personally have zero experience in life with them.
Right, yeah.
And, like, next to none, if any, online interaction with them. So I don't really know, I don't know their side of things, but...
Right, but the, like, what would have been us
Yeah.
if we had been younger.
Yeah, which this comes to what we were talking about last time.
Uh-huh.
And then I actually saw an entire news segment about this, and I was like, yes, because we're smart.
Okay.
That basically, like, talking about, because, like, that there are people now who are like, oh, it's inappropriate for, like, these, like, Kamala Harris TikToks, or, like, you know, the social media, like, aspect seems, like, not appropriate enough for politics, or whatever the, like, argument is for the other side, right? But the whole, which obviously I don't agree with, and what we were talking about was, like, and they brought up the same thing, like, the move to, like, radio, when, like, that was at first seen as, like, less than for candidates to be on radio. Then it was seen as less than for candidates to be on TV. But the ones who did good, like JFK, like, really excelled and, like, were able to, like, take this new medium and use it to their advantage, which is exactly what the Harris-Walz campaign is doing right now. Is, like, somebody showed, like, the Kamala HQ TikTok page, which is just recently started, and it's just tons of content. You can just swipe and swipe. Then they showed Trump's official page, 5 videos total. And it's still, you know, there's still the conversation of, like, what... you know, how much momentum is there?
Yeah.
How long can the momentum be sustained?
Yeah.
Because we don't have any basis of comparison. This is, like, really the first candidate that has used social media
like this.
Yeah. Even the fact that, like, Joe Biden, when he released the news that he was bowing out and endorsing Kamala, he released it on social media, the letter on social media. And that was, like, the first time something like that. I mean, Trump aside, because he, like, only used social media, but that was, like, problematic for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So this is, like, the first candidate we're really seeing, like, who's using it effectively and
not
appropriately.
Crazy.
And,
Well, and that's the other thing, too, when you were saying just, like, 2 seconds ago, like, that the other side is, like, saying it's not appropriate for, like, a candidate to use social media. I'm like, because anything Trump has ever done has been appropriate.
Yeah.
He has his own social media site.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
He just did that,
Exactly.
He just did that thing with, I didn't watch it and I know nothing about it, but maybe you do, so I'm going to throw it out there.
Okay.
He just did the interview with Elon on X. That just seems like such a cesspool of, like, moron testosterone that I did not engage.
Well, the best part about that was how poorly it went on all fronts.
Okay.
I didn't listen to the whole thing because, God, no.
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that?
Yeah, you want your brain to drip out your ear.
Yeah, there's absolutely no need. But I did listen to, like,
part of
the reports on it, which included
clips,
both on cable news and on social media. And they both were kind of reporting the same thing. So, first off, it took a good 45 minutes for them to even get the thing to work. It's just...
Okay.
Really funny. Then he just went completely off script and made like less sense than he's ever made.
Okay.
And the piece de resistance was, we're still not sure because like there's only like a couple of photos, like it wasn't like there was no video. I don't know if there were supposed to be and they couldn't get it figured out, so they just like decided to only do audio, or
What?
if that was always the plan. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it was always the plan because everyone's trying to figure out if he just didn't have his dentures glued in, because the amount of slurring and like lisp
Ooh.
and like to the point that I heard one clip that went on for a good like 2-3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the longest ones I listened that I actually sat through. It was so bad. I was like, this isn't real. Like,
that's like when the other day when I was reading you some headline, it was not real, but I was like, wait, I have to confirm. This is fake, yes?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I feel like I always have to like do a little digging and just like confirm like this is real, right? Like,
yeah.
this is not AI. Yeah. Which is exactly like
what happened. Okay, well.
Yeah. So.
Well, then I'm glad I missed it, but I'm glad I brought it up because these are all.
It's totally worth like, I mean,
perusing the headlines.
Just a couple of the clips of it to hear this list, because it's just like, what is, what, like, it became very like Daffy Duck, like noises while talking though. I can't do it. Like,
yeah. Okay.
So like
I get it.
Yeah. So hygienists were like chiming in, being like, that definitely sounds like loose dentures. Like he's lost his like suction on that.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, why did we not
fix that?
Yeah.
Especially if there's no video. Like, we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Especially since we had 45 minutes of dead air because they couldn't get it to work. Just like hang up and be like, disconnected. So weird.
So
sir,
crazy.
We gotta fix your teeth. Like, the fuck?
Oh my god, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So, the Olympics drama continues.
Oh my gosh.
Jordan Childs.
I'm just like, it's so frustrating. I mean, I'm frustrated, so I can't even imagine how the fuck she feels. But it's just so infuriating because we have found out that they have video proof that it was in fact submitted under the minute time limit.
And didn't they do it twice in the under the 1 minute? Or maybe there's 2 videos of it or something.
Okay,
there was something double.
Okay, I hadn't heard that. But I did hear that they had like video evidence, but basically that they were like, you can't appeal an appeal.
Yeah, which
I'm like, but they're not appealing an appeal. They're saying that like you fucked up,
made the wrong choice. Yeah,
like,
well, and the whole thing for me with it is that like she still earned it, whether or not they did it in the 1 minute or the 1 minute and 4 seconds or whatever. The judges fucked up and didn't score her appropriately.
Yeah.
So she still won
yeah,
the bronze medal, whether or not they're going to give it to her.
Yeah.
And then to have them take it away on such a technicality, it just feels like so against like the spirit of the Olympics.
Yeah, and especially after like, I feel like this Olympics, and I don't know the hierarchy, like chime in if you do, like of like, who appoints the judge and like how, like if it's like specifically the Olympic Committee or like countries or like who exactly is to blame.
Yeah.
But this like seems like an Olympics that heavily promoted and talked about in opening and closing ceremonies about how important it was to like come together and how we like these athletes showed like that sort of like camaraderie. So yeah, that just seems so antithetical to this like this image that they were portraying.
Yeah.
Well, from what I heard, and I could be wrong about this, but I heard that Romania and the USA also went to the Olympic Committee and said, we can both take bronze. Like, we're fine with sharing it.
Yeah, why? I don't know why they didn't do that.
Yeah, like, why wasn't that the choice? Like, because I can't remember who it was now who was speaking on it. It was a former Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure if it was Yes, it was a former Olympic gymnast, and they were speaking specifically that there are these very kind of what feel like arbitrary rules in gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
and this happens in every competition. So this isn't just like an Olympic specific thing that they were like, we only do this once every 4 years, and it's like it's specific to the sport of gymnastics.
Okay.
So it wasn't like this like big crazy thing that never ever happened. Yeah. It was more like, no, we know about this, and that's why we did it within the 1 minute time frame, and here's the video proof.
Yeah.
So like that's the biggest part to me. It's like you fucked up twice.
Yeah.
And the result is stripping her of her bronze.
It also just seems so mean.
Yeah.
Like, just the terminology, stripping her of her bronze. I was like, because, like, even, like, those headlines before I, like, read what had happened.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, what did she do?
Well, so then somebody brought up the only, up until now,
mm-hmm.
the only reasons to be stripped of a medal, which is why that terminology is there, is, like, because it happens, like, after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is doping.
Yeah.
Or cheating.
Yeah, so, like, when I saw all that, and then I was like, oh, because, what?
So it kind of, so I feel like it initially, like, that, like, minute rule got kind of like, oh, so what did they, like, cheat? Like, did they
mm-hmm.
not, like, but no, that wasn't the case at all.
No, at all. If anything, it's just, like, they just, like, bent her over repeatedly. And it's so annoying, and, like, yeah, I can't even imagine how she feels, but it just feels, like, so fucked up and so wrong.
Yeah.
And, like, and then, like, all the social media, like, she had to go off of social media because of, like,
racist.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, how did that even come into the fucking equation? Like,
I mean, I'm not surprised about that because social media is a cesspool.
That's also true, but, like, it's just gross that, like, this, like, that wasn't even the conversation to start with at all, you know? Like, and so it's just that even comes into, it's so, it's gross. And it sucks because it is, like, this was, like, the most inclusive Olympics for, like, women in particular. And, like, there were, like, so many kind of, like, groundbreaking things about it. And then to, like, have this be, like, the aftertaste.
Yeah. Well, and women won, I can't remember what the percentage, but won the majority of the gold medals for the United States.
If the United States women's had been its own country, would have been the third highest medals in the Olympics as a country. So girl power.
Yeah. The United States,
which I want that. I'll be part of that country. USA women country.
Yeah, seriously.
We'll do great. It'll be great, guys.
I saw a great thing. That was this guy who was like, you know, it's even better than Kamala winning this election. And I was like,
what?
Like, fuck you, what?
You're like, nothing.
And he goes, to never have another man win the presidency again, to just have women from here on out. And I went, oh.
Yes, now you're talking dirty.
No.
Say more.
I like where this is headed. He was like, step on my neck, respectfully, of course. Like, yes.
That's good.
Yeah. But back to Jordan Childs. Flavor Flav, who is becoming like the hero of the Olympics, really.
Yeah.
Him and Snoop Dogg are just like the new ambassadors and heroes of the 2024 Summer Olympics.
Yeah, I saw something that was like 1997. We would be very surprised by this turn of events.
Yep. But Flavor Flav, back to Jordan Childs, made her a bronze like medallion clock, like, you know, like his thing for her. So it's like, okay, Flavor Flav.
At least she gets Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
Just
just helping out the female Olympians left and right. I love it. I'm really excited. Did you catch any of the, like, in recaps, I guess, on social media, any of the closing ceremonies?
I watched it with my parents.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing.
Oh, very cool. Did you watch the live or the primetime?
I watched the primetime one.
Okay. So the primetime, so I watched both. And the primetime one had, like, both more and less stuff, but there was, like, ultimately more stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it just made me really excited for Summer LA Olympics.
2028?
Yeah. I definitely am going to go to something.
Yeah. My dad was, like, already putting it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, on all the newsletters for, like, to when it
when he told me. So I was, like, gonna sign up for that. Done. And then, yeah, because we were talking about volunteering, and he was like, oh, wait, I'm retired. I can do that. Like, yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny. Yeah, Olympics 2028.
Yeah, I definitely want to, because LA is also a home base. I'm like, I'm going. I'm going to make that work. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
also,
how impossible it is to get, like, I've signed up to, like, see.
Yeah, the newsletters.
I'm hoping that, like, depending on the venue, and, like, I could go to see, like, the time trials, or, like, you know, like, those sorts of things, like, will be easier. Because I just, like, want to experience it and be part of it. Like, I mean, obviously, it would be great to, like, go and see, like, the Olympic gymnasts win gold again, but that's gonna be a really hard ticket to get.
That's gonna be potentially impossible.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And yeah, just like, and Snoop and Flavor Flav have already become like Olympic ambassadors, and now they're coming back to LA.
But Snoop, LBC.
Yep. Yeah, so, I'm very excited about that.
Me too.
I'm also really curious, like, where all the events are going to take place. Like, LA is such a spread out city.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, like, they're going to use the Coliseum because, like, the Olympic Coliseum.
Yeah. They're doing the Coliseum because they did, like, a thing after the closing ceremonies in prime time. Where they, like,
started there.
And they showed some other things too, like, so they're doing and then SoFi Stadium.
Oh, right.
That's right. And then Staples Center.
Yeah. Are they having them swim in, like, the ocean? Like, is that where some of the swimming events are going to take place? Like,
gonna just fill up the LA River.
Just hope for a storm and hope it's on a flooded day. God. I mean, they swam in the sun and, like,
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
But I know they were saying, like, they could clean the Hudson.
Yeah.
We have it in New York.
Yeah,
I was like, woo! I was taking your life in your hands.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No, I have no idea.
So.
But I'm excited to find out. Like, yeah, because it's, like, all places that, like, we grew up around, which is cool.
That is cool. It's going to be great.
Yeah.